I am going to be showing how to use this Jasper cutting system today. Jasper Tools was kind enough to send me out their professional kit, their pro kit for cutting out circles. I purchased this originally a little while back when I was making this table for some clients that had some cup holders. And I needed a way to make small diameter circles to fit these cup holders, and I didn't really want to make a jig. I wanted something that was quick and already precise. And I went onto the internet and I found this amazing company that makes these guides for your router, and it is anywhere from 18 and 3/16 circle all the way down to a 1-inch circle with this guide. It is a pretty slick, very easy to do. So this is what I'm going to show you today. The reason why I'm doing some more circles today is because with that table that I made, they don't always want to have the holes there. So I'm going to make some covers for all those cup holders. I have my wood here already milled up and ready to go. I've got my router and my drill, everything ready. I'm going to show you how to do this so that when you do it, it's not something hard at all. I already also have my template that I had made previously for those cup holders, so I already know what size of holes I need to be making to fit into this because these are the size holes that I made for those cup holders in that table. Anyway, let me get you over here. Okay, first of all, their Pro Kit comes in this pretty sweet little hard case. Makes it easy to store and keep everything together because there's actually a lot of little bits in here. You've got this nice little sleeve here that holds the actual router template. I'll show you how to do that. It's got this little thing to help line up your router where it needs to go. This kit also comes with all the bolts that you need to be able to hook up your base onto here. As you can see, it has all these holes to be able to attach to your base. Also, what comes in here pretty nifty, some earplugs in case you don't have any. This is kind of just a complete kit, so you don't have to have like a whole shop to be able to do any type of circles. Also comes with safety glasses. Double-sided sticky tape. Double-sided sticky tape is meant for this plate. When you do these circles, you can cut out a hole here to ride your guide on for it to pivot around, or if you would rather not have a hole, they do offer this plate that has the actual pivot hole or the pivot pin on there, so you don't have to drill into your piece. So with that, it also does not require you to have one of these, which is the 1/8" pin that you use to put into your holes into this template at what size you would like to have your holes done at. In here comes with a very nice bit. It's an upcut spiral bit meant for this exact thing. It's a 1/4 inch upcut spiral. Anyway, that's it. Pretty sweet. Comes with this Pro Kit video. So I've got to remove this real quick. So I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to put that to the side because I will be putting it back on later. Okay, so now is a good time to get your center routing pin. This pin, it's just a 1/4 inch shank. Fits right into your 1/4 inch. You don't need to push it down in there hard, just enough for it to grab. And then this template has a center bearing little guide right here where that pin inserts into. So I'm going to put that right there. Get it lined up right with my holes. Now that I have this attached, can see it's nicely firm on there, all 3 of my screws. And go ahead and take out this little plate, because all it is for is just to center this, make sure you got your holes lined up, so then we can also remove your 1/4 inch pin. Now the circles I'm going to be making are going to be 4.5 inches. So in order to do that, we have this really wonderful guide right here. It has your big numbers down here ranging from 1 all the way to 18, and then it comes in 16th increments, which is really fantastic, because if you make a cut and it's just slightly too big, just a hair too big, you just move down to the next hole and you're just shaving off 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to be making 4.5. So I come right over here. Here's my 4, and they're really nice. I'm putting these inside. This is my 4.5 inch hole right here. So I'm going to be putting a hole, a pin right in there. Right there, just like that. They have a long one. They also have this nice little short one, especially since that hole runs into my actual router back here. So that's where my router is going to be pivoting off of, is this little tiny pin. Okay, so I have on here scribed out my middle line or my center dot here for this. So I'm going to go ahead and drill that out with an 1/8 inch drill bit. Doesn't have to go very deep, just okay. Also need to quickly install the bit that goes in there, so just a minute. Okay, because of the way I'm going to be cutting this, what I want to do is have a little bit of the inset sit inside of the cup holder. That way it doesn't just fall out easily. So there's going to be 2 circles I'm going to be cutting on here. The first one is going to be at 3 5/8. So I'm going to grab my pin here and then find my 3 5/8. So there's my 3, and come up here. And you see this line right here, it says 3 5/8. You follow that line down into your 3. So that should just sit in there. Sometimes it can get a little bit loose. When that happens, I tend to come with the longer, with this longer one, make it a little bit easier to hold on to as I flip the whole thing around. But right now, this hole, I've never used it, so it's nice and tight. Okay, with that all done, I've got my pin in here. I'm going to just insert that pin into my hole. Okay, doesn't have to go in there very far either. It just needs to be able to pivot, which it does beautifully. See that? Cool. Okay, so now I gotta set my router bit depth and how far I want this thing to cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, I have everything set up, ready to go. Let's cut some circles, huh? Okay, so I just made this hole and I am checking my measurements. Now I made it a little bit too big. Not a big deal because I haven't gone through on my cut yet. Let me show you what is going on. Here you can see that my circle is at 3 1/8 of a radius. What I need it to be is just over 3. So I got to cut this down just a little bit more. So I'm actually going to move my pin and make a smaller circle around here. Not a big deal. I also didn't go all the way through because this is the part that will be sitting inside of the cup. So once I get that made, then I will start working my way out to make up for the rest of the radius for that cup holder and for it to be able to sit in. There is about 1/8 of an inch between the bottom of that and this scrap right here. And when I get there, that's about how much will be sitting out on top. So let me get to making a smaller hole. Okay, it is exactly where I want it to be, at 3 inches. So the cup holder holes are just a hair over 3 inches, and so that should fit in there nice and snug. So now that I've got the inside of the circle cut, it doesn't go all the way through because I don't want it to yet. Now, the next step is to start working my way outside to get to the final outside diameter that I would like to have for it to sit inside of those slots. There is an 1/8 inch of clearance. Hopefully, if I did my setup correctly, there should only be about 1/8 of an inch between this base and the bottom of this cut. And as I work my way out, when I get to my final cut, that is when I will go all the way through. At this point, I'm going to lift this up and put double-sided sticky tape underneath, just because it makes me nervous about things moving once that final cut is made, just to help give it some extra security. Something for this piece to hold on to as I have a rotating bit going around it. That's the next step. Okay, alongside my double-sided sticky tape, I've been having this board clamped down with these clamps. They're out of the way, but it helps just to secure things. But that shouldn't be moving at all, especially once that cut goes all the way through. So now I've got to set up my my jig here. And I started out with 3 5/16. I've got to go up bigger. Now the router bit is 1/4 of an inch, so I can go up quite a bit. Let's see, there's my 3s. 5/8 was right here, so I'm going to go up to 3 13/16 and get that set in. See, as you can, my pin doesn't go all the way through because it is running into my base. Yeah, I'll get that in. As you can see, I went all the way through, finally got down to my final radius. I obviously have a little lip here. I must have moved my bit too far over on one of those cuts, but went all the way through, and that double-sided sticky tape, well, it held it exactly where I wanted it to be, so nothing moved or shifted, since this is the piece I'm going to be using. Now I've got to detach it. All right, let's take this off. Get that out of the way. Don't want to lose my pin. There we go. And there is our circle. Okay, there it is. So, like I said before, if you don't want to have a hole, they do have a plate. In this case, a hole is necessary. You need it to insert a magnet on here so that it's an easy way to get in and out of the slots that they're going to be sitting in. So there's that. This should hopefully be like about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little less. Yeah, like 1/8 of an inch. Dead on. So super easy to set up, really easy to use. What I'm going to do is round all these edges, make it nice to feel and nice to hold. Get rid of this little lip that I got on there, and then round this over. Insert a magnet into here and get some finish on it. I've got 5 more to do. So I hope that that is explanatory as to how to use this jig. It makes fantastic circles. They're very clean. This inside cut here is very clean, so this is very cool to be able to use for something else. My actual piece looks fantastic. Just have to round some things over. It's a pretty self-explanatory jig. If you ever have like questions or anything like that, they do have a website. They have a couple of videos up on YouTube that make it pretty simple to follow. But I am extremely grateful to Jasper for sending this out to me. I really appreciate it. Like I said before, I actually purchased this beforehand to use it for this table, and they reached out liking what I was doing with it and wanted to send me the pro kit just so that I could show you guys how awesome it is and how easy it is to use. So hope you guys have a good day. Talk to you later.